Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And you know, the physical delivery of wealth insurance, it is what we do. We do it better than anybody out there. And I'm going to tell you right now, we've got a very interesting market taking shape today. We've got oil surging again. We'll get to that. We've got CPI coming out tomorrow. And again, listen, this is a made-up number. This isn't CPI. Of course, CPI, Consumer Price Index. This is the inflation gauge. It doesn't even track inflation. But again, don't let the mainstream media get in the way of a good story, right? Hey, we're just going to blurt this number out and tell you it's gospel because it benefits them. Doesn't benefit us. You know, think about it this way. How can you get the right answer if you don't have accurate information, right? I mean, pretty simple. It's not possible to get to the right answer if you don't have the information that is accurate. And this is the whole problem. They've created this whole debt industry that allows you to all of a sudden trade on fiction, right? Trade on let's pie in the sky realities, wishful thinking, and somehow thinking that you're going to end up out of this okay. And this is why we have all the boom and bust cycles, the inflation problem. I don't care what that number says tomorrow because it doesn't track anything. Unless that number tomorrow says that the rent equivalent, unless it says that it's up 14, 15, 20%, it's inaccurate. Period. Of course, and all the other numbers are inaccurate as well. So, but we got a lot to talk about today. Make sure you get out to the website or call in. We have the next series of coins out. So we started yesterday about an hour from now. So we're about 23 hours into this. If you go to allamericangold.com, go to the shopping page, you'll see the two new coins. We have the 2022 Pure Blood coin. And here's what's scary about this coin. So Jason's been talking a lot about this 222, February 22nd, 2022, this date. And we created 222 of these coins. And each coin is numbered. And Jason, when I got in this morning, I had Brittany and Connie, hey, let me know how many we sold. Here's what's scary. We sold 122 of them. I'm not kidding. 122 of them yesterday.
Oh, boy.
So there's 100 of those left. There's not going to be any more. Then we have our half-empty cup of Joe coin. Daniel Carr outdid himself. The artwork on the half-empty cup is absolutely spectacular. We got the half-empty cup. That's a $75 coin. The 222 coin, that limited edition coin, that one's going to be $85. And like I said, we're already more than halfway through these coins. So if you want to get in and collect this series, get your 800-951-0592. I will tell you that we are going to do another coin, but it will be near Christmas time for a Christmas release. And we've got some surprises coming for you. But every year we're going to have coins in this series. We're going to highlight the shows. We're going to highlight radio personalities, obviously the Pure Blood theme, all of those things, Jason.
That's exactly right. And on the first coin that we released late last year, and we'll mention it one time here because if anybody in Arizona didn't hear the show yesterday, I personally bought and set aside the first coin, a chunk of them. So we about 25. We'll just say, because if you want the first coin, you feel like you missed out. We're releasing the second and third coin, these are the two coins we're talking about on the website. Let Arizona know that you want the first coin. It's still going to just be $75. I'll just pass those when I ship the coins.
So let me throw that out here because the girls can hear it here. Jason is offering 25 of the 2021 Pureblood coin. So that's $75. We have the 2022 Pureblood. That one only has 222 total. That one's $85. And then, of course, the newest coin, and by the way, I'm partial to it because, I'm part of that show, the half-empty Cup of Joe coin at $75 at 800-951-0592.
And Joe, let me say one more thing. Let me say one more thing.
Ahead,
that half-empty Cup of Joe coin, I think, is a coin as this the show that's on after this, the half-empty Cup of Joe. If that show that we're doing continues to gain listeners like it is, that'll end up being quite the gem of a coin to buy because it's the first year we released it. Joe, it's quite frankly could be the best coin of the three.
I think it is, but hey, I'm a little partial to it. Hey, we're going to be right back. We're going to talk crude oil. How high is it going to go? Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. They're going fast. We've got two lines open, 800-951-0592. These Pureblood coins, we ran them for the first time at the end of last year. And I don't know, what did they last? A few days?
Essentially 500 coins were done in 2 weeks. The majority of them in the first few days, but it basically 2 weeks. The last stragglers of the end of it took a few days, Joe, but it didn't really matter. They went fast.
And Jason actually put a few of them up on eBay. And Jason was like, he had an average cost. Think about this. We're selling for $75 and $85. You got about $125 a coin on average on eBay.
Yeah, one sold to a guy in California for $175, and then I just threw that outrageously high price to see. One guy just loves the no mask, no vaccination theme on the coin, and then I got two more sold about the $115 range. So yeah, these coins basically have $110 to $120 value to them because people in other states are buying them, Joe. It's incredible.
Yeah, they're selling everywhere, and Daniel Carr is a very well-known artist. Matter of fact, several of his designs the Mint has used of the state quarters and things of that nature. He's wildly sought after. It just so happens he's right in our backyard up there at 1360. He actually has. As far as I know,
for sure,
it is the only U.S. Mint machine in private hands.
It's the only one, Joe. And when the guy that bought it before Dan Carr, it was being sold as scrap because the U.S. Mint had all their guys that try to fix machines and work the machines, and they didn't know what was wrong with the thing. So it's like, well, if our experts can't fix it, nobody can. So they sold it as scrap. The next guy bought it, just put it in, he mothballed it, and then Dan found it. He's like, look, I'll buy it. And he had no idea how to fix a U.S. Mint machine, but he's one of those guys that he troubleshoots, and he did it. He figured it out, and he is notoriously known. You could do a tour through the Mint, and then there's like the special tour. You can sign up for a special tour where you get on the floor of the Mint, and in that tour, and there's guards that are accompanying you with the guide, and they knew exactly who he was. They're like, we know exactly who you are, Mr. Carr. So they know he has one of their machines there and he's using it.
Put it this way, the government hasn't made that mistake again. They now destroy these machines. So 800-951-0592. If you want to check them out, go to allamericangold.com, hit the shopping cart button, and if you actually click on the coin, you'll get both sides. So right now, when you go there, you'll see one side of the coin. Click on it, you'll see the other side as well. and get it placed in. Now let's talk oil. Yesterday I said, hey, I think oil's going to take a little breather. And I said, but that's only until the next piece of information comes out, and that could happen at any moment, at any time. It happened this morning, and actually started after the market closed yesterday. U.S. crude oil inventories, not good. Now, we already know, we talk a lot about inventories. This is the problem. There's no spare anything anywhere. Started last night after the bell. API, this is a private company. They said crude oil was down 2 million barrels. Cushing, Oklahoma, down 2.5 million. And already Cushing, Oklahoma, they're almost at all-time record low levels right now. So losing another 2.5 wasn't good. But then gasoline, which gasoline demand had been the one thing that had been, I think keeping crude under 100. Gasoline demand picked up, down 1.1 million barrels. Distillates, you truckers out there, this is all about you here. Down 2.2 million. By the way, distillate inventory. So this is your heating oil, and this is your diesel fuel. This is your jet fuel. That's what this number is. They are about 10 million barrels away from being at all-time record lows. Now, that was yesterday afternoon. This morning, we got the government's number, the Department of Energy number. It was even worse. Crude stocks down almost 4.8 million barrels. Cushing, Oklahoma was down 2.8 million, so even more than the API. And same story, gasoline, distillates down as well. I mean, crude oil yesterday got down to about $87, already back above 90, Jason. And the problem is, this is a time when normally inventories are building. And let me just give you some other news. News out of India. We talked about it a little bit on other shows yesterday. India is running at 100% plus. Matter of fact, they said 101. I don't know how you get to 101%, but India found out a way. At all of their refineries, they are desperate for oil. Mexico announced that they were actually going to cut oil shipments to India because Mexico says we need the oil ourselves, and said that all refineries need the oil. This is adding more logs to the fire, more fuel to the fire. And then I was reading through the Department of Energy. They're saying that China is going to start stepping up their oil buying as the Chinese New Year wears off, Jason. I think we've got a big storm brewing here. We're going to see probably $5 gasoline. I think you're going to see gold and oil go together.
And then there's always the stuff you can't find out in the normal news, like with Virginia Farmer on the Half Empty Cup of Joe yesterday. 300,000 satellites plan to go up over Rwanda. I mean, these things use a lot of fuel, Joe. I mean, building this kind of infrastructure for these things that we don't hear about, the Great Reset, Joe, seems like in a time when inflation's going up and people should spend less money and maybe travel a little less, oil demand is this high. There's definitely something going on that we're not hearing about.
Well, you know what? And this was something, and we brought it up on the Half Empty Cup of Joe yesterday. Up until 2021, so go back through 2020, we had about 2,000 satellites circling the Earth. They added 2,800 satellites in a single year. That's a lot of rocket launches, right? That's a lot of fuel. That's a lot of computer chips, right? This 5G technology. Listen, 5G allows for the data. They were already collecting a ton of data. Now they're going to be collecting, think about it, 2, 3, 4, 5 times that amount of data. All of that stuff needs to get stored, data storage, servers. Right now, all of a sudden, it makes sense. What happened to all the computer chips? Well, I got a pretty good idea. Why is so much power? You look at crypto, right? And again, remember, and I said, I love crypto. I think it's doomed to fail, but I love it. The amount of power needed to do these things, and it's just overwhelming the energy markets, and it's something where right now, like I said, everything's at all-time record lows. And if they're not at all-time record lows, I'm right near all-time record lows. We got prices all-time record highs. If they're not all-time record highs, they're right near all-time record highs. And it's any little thing. It's just, like I said today, nobody expected this bad of a number from U.S. crude oil inventories. Got oil right back again.
Exactly, Joe. When you're building the brave new world, you need a lot of computer chips to surveil everybody in your system. I mean, that's the computer chip thing is absolutely. Who knows how many reasons they need these chips? You know, when you're surveilling, China's been surveilling they have billions of cameras in that country with their social credit score, and they're building it in every other country in the world. All these things use a lot of resources, Joe.
Yeah, and it really is amazing. You know, another number, we didn't even get to it yesterday. The U.S. trade deficit for 2021 broke every record known to man. It officially jumped 27% in a year, $859 billion. Now, that's the official number, $859 billion. But if you just say, okay, let's take banking out of it. Because as you remember, I've told and educated people for a very long time, right, that NAFTA and GATT and all these free trade agreements, they weren't about free trade. The banks, J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, B of A, all the big, large Wall Street companies, they wanted to get in there and get into the Chinese debt markets. This was what it was all about. In terms of actual stuff, we had a trade deficit of over $1.1 trillion. The banking side of it, hey, okay, we'll give you an official number of $859 billion. I want you to understand that's wealth leaving this nation. Wealth leaving this nation. When you talk about prosperity, I'm sorry, there's not a country in the world that remained a superpower when they're having to have $1 trillion a year of wealth leave their country. And this is exactly what's happening here. The results keep getting worse and worse. Now remember, Donald Trump made China pledge to buy all this stuff from us. Well, they did buy more food than ever, about $33 billion worth. Nowhere close, right? They were supposed to be buying like $120 billion. Nowhere close to it. The Biden administration, just like we thought, nothing but a wet patsy, hardly said anything about it, Jason.
You know how really truly bad that trade deficit number is, Joe, in a year where they were giving away free money to everybody to buy stuff. And the trade deficit is that big. I mean, I guess part of that is, well, I guess the number's bigger because we're buying more stuff from China, and that could make the deficit worse. But you would think you're giving away a bunch of free money that someone would build something here, or use the money to build up. Hey, we want to make something here and send it out over the course of 2021. No, it just created such a windfall for money and assets leaving the country. It's truly a depressing number to see America failing so badly there, Joe.
I've got all of my friends upset about their COVID tests being made in China. I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't have any COVID tests, but this is what they're telling me. They're just, we were bowling last night, and they were just all up in arms about these tests are all made in China and all this. Everything's made in China. And again, when we sit there and we look at what the realities really are, think about how high oil prices are. Think about what we've talked about, shipping rates, right? And how huge they are. Yet, nobody's talking about bringing jobs back here. Now, there's some companies talking about leaving China. There's a chip maker says, hey, we're leaving China. And they said that we're only leaving because they're stealing all our stuff, right? And by the way, we're just going to India, right? We're not coming here to the U.S. Jason, for this math to work, people have no idea. And of course, now with wages skyrocketing the way they are, it's actually going to get worse. If they can move it to Mexico, if they can move it to China, if they can move it anywhere but here, if they can get a robot to do the job, that's what's going to happen.
That's correct, Joe. And these other countries don't have the freedoms that America has. Even though we're losing them day over day, we're losing more and more freedoms. It's easier to force the India population or the Chinese population, the Mexican population. It's easier to push them around than the average American. We still have a lot of defiant Americans wanting their freedoms, right where they're at. So, on top of just how expensive it is to make stuff here, Joe. Hey, we all know about the Nike factories in China, Joe, from the last decades. They're just going to wherever they can do that in any part of the world.
Imports of goods hit a new record high of $1.8 trillion. I mean, it's approaching 10% of the entire economy. It's crazy. We're going to be right back after the break. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Gold's up another $4 and change, $18.31.
Joe, let me jump in real quick.
We're right here.
Go ahead, Jason. Let me jump in real quick. 800-951-0592. These pure blood coins, the Fake News Friday coin and the Half Empty Cup of Joe coin. If you call on the radio station here, Christina, my office assistant, she comes in just before 10 o'clock. So I got a lot of phones ringing here. To reserve your coin, you need to call 800-951-0592. That's how we're getting the coin count done. Please call there if you're getting the coin. So, Joe, I heard the phone's ringing on your side still. So if you're calling here, I won't be able to get someone on the line until about 10 or 15 minutes from now when Christina walks in the door. But otherwise, just call the 800 number and get your coins.
There you go. Well said. And they're going even faster this year than they were when we did them the last time around. Taco Bell, KFC, missed earnings this morning. The company saying that cost outpaced the price increases, saying that all of its company's restaurants, all restaurants' margins shrunk in the quarter. Prices, and again, same story. Everything's more expensive. We got to raise prices. There's a reason why, we start thinking about all of these central banks, all of the gold buying they've been doing. India's central bank announcing officially that they've bought another 77.5 metric tons of gold in 2021. India now the second largest buyer of the yellow metal. Now, that's willing to say that they're a buyer. I want to throw that in there. Thailand, 90 metric tons. Brazil, India saying they plan on continuing to buying gold into 2022. Central bank gold buying in 2021, Jason, was at Lombardi report was saying that the growth in central bank buying was up 82%. 82% in 2021. Think about this. A year when the gold price, I think gold may have been down 1% or 2%, but let's say call it pretty flat. And yet central bank gold buying was up 82%. And I want to remind people, last week, and I forget I don't know if it was Bank of America or Goldman, maybe it was Merrill Lynch, one of the big investment houses said, hey, something really weird's happening here. The paper gold guys keep trying to wreck gold, and every time gold broke below $1,800, this buyer would emerge. But they weren't doing it through the normal channels. Instead, at the amount of gold that they think's been bought, putting it squarely, China's in the markets and they're just not telling anybody. And Jason, I get the feeling China's in the market because they've been getting ready for the new explosion to the upside in the gold price. But the fact that central banks are buying this amount of gold, and when you're talking about central banks buying 4, 5, 6, 700 metric tons in a single year, you're talking about them buying 10, 15, 20% of all the gold supply, period.
Yeah, I mean, don't get mad at rich guys and don't get completely angry at central bankers. These are all very wealthy individuals. What Joe's trying to tell you is if the wealthiest of the wealthy, the governments and the central banks of the world, are stocking up on this, there's a way that you could help yourself out. You follow what the big guys are doing sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. And this is one of those, if the Bank of China, the Chinese government, governments across the world, central banks across the world, they're loading up 82% more, 82% higher volume of buying. They're not going to buy it at $3,000 or $4,000. They want to buy it when it's, the spot price is $1,800, $1,900. That's where they're going to buy it.
I'll even go a step further. These banks all work together.
It's a cartel.
It's an absolute cartel. There's a reason. I don't know what it is. Right? We're left to speculate. But there's something, and I got a pretty good idea of what it is. I think all of you do too. Hey, this little cycle here, and I've been saying it over and over and over again, and I know that people get tired of hearing it, and it's depressing, but it's the truth. There's only two options here. Allow inflation to keep running wild, or crash the economy. There is no in between. There's no magic bullet. Oh, we can just raise rates 3 or 4 times and the problem will be all fixed. That's naive and idiotic and borderline stupid. Right? But again, the mainstream media, right, they're cheerleaders for the central bank. They want you to believe this fantasy. It's just simply not true. Just like when they said inflation was transitory. It's not true. Now, again, do they care about gasoline prices? No. You want to know why? Well, we like to strip out food and energy, in our number. Like they don't count. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, the price of bacon double G. I'm sorry, but it doesn't count. Oh, is hamburger $5 a pound, $7 a pound, $8? Sorry, but it doesn't count. Only doesn't count for them, right, Jason?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And there's so many people on the mainstream media economics shows that are going to tell you different things. Joe, I don't want to get into this, but I want to cover just for a moment on the next segment about the S&P. I reminded people of some history, something you can look at with the S&P, and I talked about it on Monday, Joe, when you were not on the air. I want people to understand that what's getting ready to happen may not be the head fake. I'm starting to think, Joe, that the 2020 market crash is like in basketball, the head fake, the defender jumps up and then they just hit that three-pointer. Because I think people think, well, if it crashes, this year, early next year, well, why would I sell all my S&P 500 stocks? Why would I do that? It'll come back in a year. That's just what's going to happen. And I'm going to give, I'll remind the audience what we talked about on Monday. It doesn't come back in 1 year a lot. We have 2 periods in the last century where it didn't come back in a year or 2 years. It came back after 25 years or more, twice in the last 100 years, Joe. It took 25 years for the S&P 500 to come back from a crash. I think that's what we're looking at here, this next one, Joe.
Yeah, however this plays out, we don't know the timing, but I think this is going to be a major event. You know it, we know it. There's no good answer here. I wish there was. I wish there could be nirvana. Oh, yeah, we can just raise rates 3 times and somehow, poof, the inflation goes away and the economy goes back to growing at 2% and everybody's happy. That's not what's going to happen. And the reason is they were reckless and dangerous and did things they shouldn't have done, and they created too much money. It's pretty simple. Patriot Radio News Hour. We're going to be right back. 800-951-0592. Gold's up 6 now, 1833. I wouldn't be surprised in 5 minutes it could be up 26. I mean, that's how fast this could go here. Silver's up again. 23.30. Silver still got some work to do, but getting much better. The lead pipe stone cold lock of the week. We had a $30 price increase on $20 gold this morning. Of course, I got warning of it earlier. Those people that bought yesterday, gold price is up $30 on $20 gold because there's just not any out there. I've got 75. Listen to this. I got 75 Mint State 62 $20 Liberties at $183 off. $2,105. That's exactly what we're selling the ungraded $20 Liberty for this morning. You can go all the way to a Mint State 62. This is the biggest discount I've ever seen on a Mint State 62 $20 Liberty. I've got 75 of them available. I'd buy every one of them. 800-951-0592. Gold's now up 7, 1834. Again, 1830 was kind of that level we've been waiting for again. We're going to stop at 1850, 1870. I think 1900, Jason, is probably going to be the big number. And when that happens, then it's kind of Katie by the door at that point.
Yep, and the chart that I've been watching, Joe, that range is getting more narrow. It looks like 1840 is getting to be the high range of that chart, and the low is 1790. And as time goes on, 1800 will be the low that we go inside this sideways movement, and then 1830 will be in this chart, the chart that I'm looking at, Joe. So we're on the cusp of this breaking out, and it could happen. It could break out this week. It could break out in March. It could break out in April. When it goes, if this is correct, what I'm seeing, it should break to all-time record highs in a relatively short amount of time, Joe.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure here, and there's a lot of buying. And again, remember, last year there was only one type of gold that was down, just one. It wasn't jewelry demand. It wasn't investment demand. It wasn't physical demand. It was just paper. That's it. And now the paper guys, and I've been saying there's been a big change in the marketplace here. Buyers continually stepping in and stepping in and stepping in. And the answer is really simple because inflation, like I said, I don't care what the CPI reports tomorrow, it is flying high. And I think crude oil here, we got a problem here. There's no inventory. Somebody was just writing about, and refineries are very fickle, right? They break down. They need maintenance. And if you don't do those things, you're going to have a problem. And they're talking about the Indian refiners. They've been running at max capacity now for months, and they're saying the bow is going to break sooner or later. They're going to have to shut down and do maintenance, and that is going to force India to buy even more unleaded gas on the open market and just create this snowball effect. And we talk about India. India's the second largest country in the world. We talk about China, right? By the way, our crude production, and I was shocked, is almost unchanged. It's about 11.6 million barrels. So we actually are still producing less than we were a couple of years ago. Remember, we got above 12 million barrels a day, 13 million barrels a day. Even with this higher price, there's not this big surge of oil coming to the market, Jason.
That's correct. I mean, you would think in the world system of oil, they would just build more, refineries and just get the, have that, what does it matter if a refinery is at 10% or 50% production if you have a time where oil is not selling as much? But no, they just keep the certain amount of refineries they have now. They rarely add very many extra refineries, and that just causes this stress. And pretty soon, like you said, Joe, can you imagine if a hurricane or an earthquake or something wipes out a few refineries? What would happen to oil? It would be devastating.
And these are natural things that would always happen. And again, that's why you have inventory. That's why you have the stock. We've already been releasing stock out of our strategic oil reserve, and it's done nothing to stop these prices. And this is oil that's got to get paid back as well. I mean, I don't know how the whole thing's going to work, but as we watch the energy markets, and when we watch whether it's the corn inventory, soybean inventories, coffee inventories, I mean, you pick it, aluminum inventories, copper inventories. Remember yesterday we were talking about cash copper? It's not $4.60, $9, right? It's double what it is. Cash aluminum prices, it's not $3,100 a ton. It's almost 4,000. These paper markets are really, Jason, doing a disservice to what really is happening out there.
Right, and like I mentioned on the last segment, I've been watching just a lot of these guys selling the stock market in paper, Joe. They're saying, well, they know something's getting ready to happen. They're saying, well, stick with it. It'll be down for a little bit. It'll come right back. It very well may take decades. The 1929 stock crash, Joe, the S&P stocks dropped. They didn't come back for 27 years. That's when it got back to the 1929 levels. And then the next one, 1968, the S&P stocks went down. They didn't come back to the 68 levels till 1993. And that one may be worse than the 29 one, because what did we have similar to what we have now from 68 to 93, Joe? We had the big 70s and 80s inflation. Much more devastating to you if you had S&P stocks in 1968, Joe, and it'll just come back, Joe. It's just going to come back, right? Could take decades, Joe.
I think this one's going to be much longer than the norm because, again, it's the amount of money created out of thin air. That's the problem. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker, and they're going fast. The MS-62 $20 Liberty. This is, whatever you want to call it, the lead pipe stone cold lock of the week. You're saving $183. And it's crazy. We had 75 of them. We got about 43 of them left. By the way, there's only 2 lines open right now. They're going to be at $2,105, the exact same price as a ungraded, circulated $20 gold piece. These are going to be NGC or PCGS certified. For those of you that know, these are going to be encapsulated and graded. There's no doubt as to what you're holding here. And when and especially now. Used to be that the Saints and the Libs would run together till Mint State 63. Now they only run together till about Mint State 61. The Mint State 62 Liberties are now carrying premiums. Sometimes the premiums are much as $50, $75, up to $100 more. So this is real great value here, Jason.
Yeah, and it's because the $20 Liberties were circulated and spent well more than the $20 St. Gaudens, which ran from 1907 to 1933. Those coins were kept in bags more. They didn't circulate nearly as much. And when everything was, when gold was made illegal and everybody started turning their gold in, you just didn't have
those
a lot.
Liberties that got melted.
Yeah, man, and just you can't get them in a mint state form as easy. There's more of them out there, which I think, Joe, is why you saw the prices stay the same for a while. But, there's a lot of collectors out there that just want mint state gold. They like mint state, Morgan dollars, things like that. And they just slowly over time, those older coins just go away. So it's a cool coin to get in that grade. Yeah, it really is it. And don't forget, we've got our 222 Pure Blood coin. That's at $85. We're almost through those. So if you want one of those, make sure you get your order placed. And then the best coin, at least the best coin yet, the half-empty Cup of Joe coin, that one at $75 as well. Those 2 coins are available online. If you want the Mint State 62, you got to call in because I've only got X amount, and I don't want to, and I can't oversell them because I can't replace them for what I bought them for.
800-951-0592. Gold sitting near 1833. Silver just under 2330. The Dow is up today as it was, I want to say it was Morgan Stanley saying the whisper CPI number, they're hoping that it's not as bad. If that's the case, we'll probably see gold prices actually jump on that news because that'll mean the dollar will be lower, the bond market will be lower because then they'll be able to again, live in fantasy that, oh, yeah, see, the Fed's not going to have to hike 67 times, right, Jason?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but I don't know. I think
the number that tracks absolutely nothing. It's hilarious. Just think about how good these guys are. They were able to create a number that actually doesn't track inflation and yet somehow give it validity.
That's right, Joe. And I really believe this year in 2022 they're gonna hike it until they break it. You know, and when it's broken, then it's another attempt at printing money and making everybody happy. You know, that drug of the Federal Reserve note, right? It's that's the only place they have to go. We're going to act like we're going to fix it.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the problem is to Jason's point, they're going to hike till they break it because they overestimate how good they really are.